It's another edition of Time About the Movies, and we're looking at the first day of a new month, June 1990. And much like last week, we only have one movie to look at today, and it's a movie that's generally regarded as a science fiction classic. It is Paul Verhoeven's directorial effort, Arnold Schwarzenegger starring in it. It's Total Recall.
Your mind. It is the center of your life. It is everything you hear, everything you see, everything you feel. It is everything you are. How would you know if someone stole your mind?
Can I just say that that's probably one of the best teaser trailers ever that nobody really ever talks about? I mean, around this time, there was another Arnold Schwarzenegger movie that had a great teaser, and that was Terminator 2. But that teaser for Total Recall was actually pretty awesome. Like, I really like the way that Schwarzenegger is filmed from, like, the upper part of the camera, and he's just slowly but surely turning over to the looking down on the bottom of the screen. It's like it's a great little trailer that I think a lot of people don't really talk about all that much, but it's pretty damn good. So. But other than that, this is of course based off of Philip K. Dick's short story, We Can Remember It For You Wholesale, and it follows Schwarzenegger, who plays a construction worker who goes to a recall facility to put himself on a fantastical adventure on Mars, but then he finds out that the world he's been living in has been part of a secret operation by a shadow organization who's trying to prevent him from recovering memories of his past life, and the people that Douglas Quaid, Schwarzenegger's character, find out that it turns out that most of the people in his life don't even want to kill him, and he goes off on this great adventure throughout the course of the movie. Leads to a ton of great moments, ton of great visual moments, and you can see why this is one of the best movies that Arnold Schwarzenegger has ever made, one of the best movies Paul Verhoeven has ever made, because it definitely fits into both of these guys' repertoire when you realize their work that they've done prior to this and then after this. Of course, Paul Verhoeven also did RoboCop. There's a lot of visuals in this that are definitely reminiscent of RoboCop, and some of the visual effects of this movie are still amazing. This movie is over 30 years old, and it still holds up visually on many parts. There are lots of scenes in this movie you can watch and be like, that's actually pretty impressive the way they were able to do that. There are moments in here that are over the top and silly, but they're kind of hilarious, even nightmarishly hilarious. Not unlike what we saw 4 years later with Junior, but yeah, let's just pretend let's just pretend we don't even talk about that. I'm not even going to mention that when we get to that movie, because oh my God, Ivan Reitman, what were you thinking when you made that scene? But yeah, the movie Total Recall is a very good movie. It's maybe one of Arnold Schwarzenegger's best movies overall. It's a great movie that has this ambitious scope to it. It has this huge look to it that looks visually impressive, like almost to Blade Runner type levels. And a lot of talent is involved in this movie. Dan O'Bannon, who of course was one of the writers on Alien, he actually pitched this movie at Disney at one point, and this was before Disney had Touchstone Pictures as their like adult film outlet. This was like back when Disney wasn't the family friendly company it became known as at this time. And they were making experimental movies like The Black Hole and Something Wicked This Way Comes, those type of movies. Would have been interesting to see what they would have done if Disney had actually gone through with this, quite honestly. But it went around to various studios, various people put themselves behind it. But of course, this ended up with Carolco Pictures and TriStar Pictures, and the results speak for themselves. The movie was one of the big hits at the time. I mean, they expected this to be one of the most successful movies of the year, but I don't think they realized how big this really would have been. To put it this way, $25 million on your opening weekend in 1990 was considered the equivalent of opening to $100 million today. Like, that's considered a blockbuster success for that time period. And of course, Total Recall was a whole lot lesser theaters than a big movie would be today. Like a big movie today would be around like 4,200 theaters. I think this one was around like 2,000 theaters at this point. Like 2,000 was the peak at this time, and I don't think we ever got to like 3,000 theaters until maybe 95 or 96. I'd have to look that up, but we're not here to talk about those specifics. What about the movie itself? Because like I said, the movie is amazing. From a story perspective, it works incredibly well. The writing here is very good. It has a great balance of comedy and dramatic elements to it. There are moments where the movie takes a break. There are a lot of times when the movie is chaotic and in your face, and never to the point where it's like it's overflowing or overcluttered. But it's like it's a perfect blending of like fun, over the top humor, lots of good action, lots of good dramatic elements, and it helps to have a great cast like this. Schwarzenegger's really good in this. You've got a young Sharon Stone in this who plays his wife and the person that wants to kill him. Michael Ironside's always going to be great as the bad guy. You got Ronnie Cox in here, Rachel Ticotin. You also have Robert Costanzo, who you may know as Bullock from Batman the Animated Series, is in this movie. And yeah, like I said, the visuals are a lot of fun. You can tell that there's a good mix of like computer and practical effects that just work so well on both levels. They mesh together surprisingly well, and like I said, they still hold up, most of them, very well for a movie that's over 30 years old like this. I also like the movie's overall ideas of questioning reality and theorizing what your life could have been like, or what should be like. I like the way this movie manages to work on that as well. So yeah, Total Recall overall is a fantastic movie. I don't think I need to tell anybody to see it, because most of you have probably already seen it already. So there you go. That's Total Recall. Yeah, just ignore the new location. But anyway, that's going to wrap up this edition of Time About the Movies. Next time around, we've got another 48 Hours with Eddie Murphy and Nick Nolte. And then there was a movie that came out the weekend of Back to the Future Part 3 that I completely forgot about, called Firebird. So I'll throw that into the next episode as well. So other than that, thank you guys for watching. And as always, if you want to see more videos like this, check out the playlist on the next page. Check out the previous episode. And I'll see you guys tomorrow for another new episode. So until then, take care.